Hello, you beautiful people, and welcome back to the 17th episode of the West Ham Save. Before we get into things, I'd like to mention the new schedule. So, as you may have noticed, it's been difficult uploading videos as the last few weeks I've very much struggled with. Christmas has made my work a lot harder, a lot longer, so videos have been very difficult. So, I'd like to say we're changing to a 3 episode a week schedule just for now. Basically, it'll be like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I've thought about this. So with the 2 weeks basically off, I'm gonna hopefully I'm gonna be able to get back into the swing of things. I'm sorry if things do go awry, but for now that's the plan. And by doing that, I'm going to try and go further off screen. So this episode is taking place only a couple weeks after the last one, which was the victory 6-0 victory over Liverpool in the Carabao Cup semi-final. Very happy with that result. So I almost didn't upload that episode. With 6-0, I've kind of got to upload it. The reason why I almost didn't was 'cause I do want to start pushing things on, and yeah, we're going to be going off. So, for example, our next episode may well be the Carabao Cup final. In fact, it almost certainly will. After that, we're going to be talking like the second legs of cups, and we're basically by the end of next week, this season will be done and dusted. And pretty soon we'll be moving on to a new save. This West Ham save may have slightly outlasted its length that it should have. So yeah, we're going to be probably doing another season, maybe two here, but those are going to move by quite quickly. We're going to go into the Hall of Fame challenge, which I'm very excited for. Anyway, and so we lost 1-0 to Crystal Palace. After that, a loss to a Vincent Janssen penalty. Heartbreaking, yeah, but I'm always happy to see Vincent Janssen in the score sheets. We beat Marseille 3-1, and we'll go on to beat Brentford 2-1. And in terms of transfers, I could be wrong, it's been a little while. We have signed 2 new players. In fact, we'll go off it this way. So, I don't know how many of these guys you've seen. David Otto, I don't believe you saw, for £10 million, so quite a lot of money. We've brought in this young 19-year-old midfielder. I love his physicals, the height, the strength, the jumping reach, the stamina. I feel like he's got a lot of potential, and it's worth now trying to maybe invest into that. Definitely going to put him on that development list. Hopefully, teams will be willing to pay. He has to be a star player, I'm going to say that. And let's hope they can pay, like, let's say 70%. But yeah, I feel like this guy's got a lot of potential. He's definitely worth the 10 million. Even if it doesn't work out, I feel like this is a realistic sign, which I know some of my transfers may not feel entirely realistic. He appeared for Crystal Palace back in 2022-23. He had 15 games on loan at Mansfield, and he had a pretty good time there in League 2, and was doing very well in the youth setup for Palace. So yeah, £10 million, I feel like that makes a lot of sense. Up next for £43 million, we said we needed to improve our wingers, and Gonçalo Borges is one of those which I thought, yeah, he's perfect. Hasn't made an appearance for us yet, I'm excited to see what he can do, but he has had a great season this year with Porto, and last season wasn't exactly much worse. Really excited by him, 23 years old. He isn't my perfect type of player, and if it wasn't January, I definitely would have held out for someone better on the mental side. He isn't my type of player, but I have faith that something good can come out of him, even if I'm not entirely sold on it. I'm not sure if you guys saw we brought in Brahim Diaz. In fact, I don't think you did see him. So yeah, Brahim Diaz has also been signed from Real Madrid for just 9.25 million, and he's someone who fits more of what I like. This is kind of more my type of player, though I actually think Gonçalo Borges will be a little better. He isn't perfect, but I felt like we needed to sign someone who's a little bit more experienced, and Diaz is one of those players. He has been around for a very long time, has played with a couple of great teams. His time at Milan was superb. He didn't really hit the ground running here in Madrid. And yeah, I have a lot of faith in him to just at least perform, do what he does best. Again, I'm not sure if you guys actually saw me sign him. I really like these stats, and I feel like he can be at least somewhat of a player to look up to for a lot of these younger players coming up. Is, you know, you want to be like Brahim Diaz in terms of like pure raw ability. And our final signing, and this is my personal favourite, is Samu. We have signed him from Mallorca. He has had a very good 2 seasons for the Spanish side. Is a superb player mentally, physically. Maybe his technicals could be a little bit better, but at 24 years old, I don't think you're going to find a much better defensive midfielder than this. And as we did mention last episode, I wanted to build this team more into my ideal squad. And Diaz and Samu fit that perfectly. The more technical, possession-based players are my dream. Now, we have been getting a few offers in for Anel Ahmedozic. I really like him. The offers are from the likes of Lazio, and he's actually on the loan list. I'm going to take him off. Hopefully he doesn't get too angry. But we have promised him the ability to get a bit more game time. Betis, Lazio, Valencia all want him. It shows you just how good he is. I'm hoping that we can just simply give him that game time he wants, and I'm very glad I did reject those offers, because Mavropanos tore his groin and will be out for 3 to 5 weeks, because the only other option we had was to either sign someone or rely on this young player here in the under-21s, who isn't bad, but Jack Kingdon isn't exactly the type of player I want to be thrown to the wolves, so to speak. So he will actually be getting his first start here in this game against Karabag. As you see, we don't have the biggest squad. Flynn Downs, Brahim Diaz and Sean Moore all aren't registered. Patton Daka still recovering from injury. But this is the squad we're left with. Is going to move Sammy to what I love, the halfback. So, the squad for now looks along the lines of this. Mohamed Kudus continues to lead up front. Gonçalo Borges on that left wing. Jared Bowen on the right. McTominay, Ward-Prowse and Nusan and Samu form the midfield trio. And it's a very recognisable backline with Ait Nouri, Ahmedozic, Todibo and Mario Trubin in goal. And it leaves the competition looking like this. We are in 10th place, 14 points. If we win against Karabag, that moves us above Inter, Benfica and Manchester City, and so we will be guaranteed through to the round of 16. As for the league position, we are on 44 points, 10 points behind Tottenham, who have 2 games in hand, but only 5 points behind Manchester City with a game in hand. So if we can continue performing well in the Premier League, we have a definite chance to be in the discussion for number 1 in the Premier League. So whether you like the transfers or not, it's clear something's working, because this squad looks very, very good. Let's see, can we beat Karabag and confirm our spot in the round of 16 of the Champions League? I believe the furthest West Ham have ever gone in modern day European football. So this is taking a little second to load up, so we'll come back when the match is. And so we are back. Well, for me, I'm back. So this is the Karabag side. Andrei Lunev, Maxim Medvedev, Abbas Hushinev, Kavir Medina, Taisho Teniste, Victor Ratamal, Patrick, formerly of Chelsea. It's not the Lazio one. He's a right back and he doesn't have the K. But Juninho up front, Hamidou Keita of Salzburg's on the bench. Vadim Siddiqov, very talented striker. So not the worst squad, but definitely a side we should be a couple million miles ahead of. And you see they play in that 4-2-3-1. I do think we are the better squad, but I always worry. Games like these, especially in European football, always have that potential for the upset. It's never quite as simple as just powering through and saying we're the better squad. As Kudus looks for Samu on his debut, I believe. Not quite able to get that headed above Lunev. Really interested. I want everyone to kind of take an eye on Samu. His positioning, his mental attributes are his key place that I've been looking at. So already playing that sort of battery role, you can see my influences in total football, Pep Guardiola. Um, a lot of that is his Borges. Probably the most similar to me to like how I want is watch like late Barcelona 2010s. 1 second, there might be a goal here. Bowen at the back post. Oh, it hits off of the back post to Bowen. Oh my god, I've forgotten his name. Well, basically just watch like lower league Spanish football these days. I don't like a couple of names I don't want to say because of some of the people that have been linked with as João Mario nearly hit it over. Anthony Iraola is one of them now at Bournemouth. Very like his play at Vallecano. Second division. Oh, I've forgotten his name. The Girona manager right now, also very good. Like those type of people, but then there's also definitely the Luis Enrique type. Oh, it's a beautiful goal there. It was 1-0 up. Jared Bowen parking in on that right hand side, cuts it across the face of goal to the arriving Mohamed Kudus, who is definitely getting that chance now to play up front. As this West Ham save has become very slow all of a sudden, which is a little bit disconcerting. Bowen across, Kudus on his weaker right foot. It was an open goal. But that type of football you want, playing it across the face. The goalkeeper can't really react to it. And here's Bowen once more. Headed away, but there's Samu calmly back to Jared Bowen. Swings in Gonçalo Borges on his debut. Falls toward Prowse off the crossbar. Yeah, I'm also definitely keeping an eye on Gonçalo Borges. He, of course, competing with Yeremy Doku, who's slowly coming back to fitness. So there's also Marcus Edwards, who has had a few great games without Bowen around. Here is Jared Bowen, just wide of the post. We keep on attacking down his right hand side, and it continues to play the entire game through Jared Bowen, who with just one assist is on an 8.1. That's how good he's been in terms of XGA and XG creating. 1.94 XG currently for West Ham. Karabag yet to really break out of their own half. Not a single shot, let alone one on target. And just before the end of the first half, it looks very comfortable that we will be progressing through to the round of 16 if we can continue this play. And it's us on the ball. Anel Ahmedovic, proving why maybe he should be starting over Naif Aguirre. Jean-Claire Todibo now, bringing this ball forward. One of the main reasons we made him our first signing. João Mario now. Could he put the ball in? Does. Scott McSauce, it's down to Borges. And he gets a debut goal to put us 2-0 ahead. Will it count? It looks like it will. Not even a VAR introduction there. João Mario pacing down his right hand side. I can't believe Manchester City never utilised him. McTominay with the assist. As looking, he is wanted by Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia, unsurprisingly. I did think, should we sell him? But the stats he's still putting up are very good. Of course, not as good as last season, which they brought a tear to my eye. Ain't naughty. I mean, every player we've signed hasn't been very highly rated by our scouts, but it's worked perfectly as Kudus is denied there a second. Ain't naughty was like, people really weren't happy with my signing in the back office. And they will be very much hoping they don't get fired. Ball into Debo, heads over. They might be shaking in their boots a little bit with how good Ain't Naughty's been performing this season. Well, if we just look at the league table right now, we are in 6th place. That's a really good position to be in for us. We are going to definitely have a lot of fortune. Anyway, Marcus Edwards is going to come in. Gonçalo Borges is also going to come off for Yeremy Doku. Both wingers substituted for their fitness. And Kudus has picked up a slight injury. So 70 minutes in, we've had to make 3 changes. I'm not happy with that. But it will be Patson Daka, who is back from injury. Still not fully fit, but hopefully he can play out the last 20 minutes. Can Doku get back into the score sheets? And with 10 minutes left to go, we're going to finish off our last substitutions. But first, let's see this final highlight. And I hope from watching this match, you guys have any ideas on what the transfers may be. We can still sign one more player for our Premier League squad. The Champions League side is pretty much finalised now. As Daka, he is back in the goals. Patton Daka is inevitable. Rain, sun or snow, Daka is there in that 6-yard box. Another assist for João Mario. It's actually his first assist of this game, but he has been inevitable as well. I need a better word. Down that right hand side, Lunev could have done better. And right as about to make the substitution, there's another highlight. This West Ham team is so good. Just everlasting pressure. We may not dominate possession, but we dominate games. Because teams can't break through the midfield. And when we get that ball, our width, and this is what I mean with that Iraola, the wide players are so important to our squads. It's why we are very picky on what wingers and wing backs we sign. A lot of money go into those players. And here's McTominay, Doku, Aït-Nouri, could look for Yeremy Doku once more. And does, who flicks onto Daka, finds Marcus Edwards, who's brought down, and Teniste may well have just set their team up for a very embarrassing loss here. With not much time left, now is the best time for us to make our substitutions actually. Emerson and Hayden Hackney come into the side. Yes, I could have utilised Ollie Scholes, but Emerson needs his game time. Had such a great season for us last year when he got the chances. I don't want to give up on him just yet. Still want those veterans around. And it will be Marcus Edwards, I believe, to take the penalty that he won. And he does slot it in. What goal is that? 10th goal this season. For a backup winger, it's incredible. He cannot believe he isn't in the starting lineup more. It's a lovely finish. And our man of the matches could be our right winger, our backup right winger, our left winger, or either of our strikers. Just amazing team all around, depth to the fullest. Let's not concede here. Samu heads on. He's not had a super lively game, but he's done what is needed as McTominay won the tackle, but it fell right back to Karabag, who are looking for the consolation goal here. Just making up for a silly penalty conceded. Instead, Ahmedosic wins the ball. And look at that, both centre-backs on 7.2s. What a signing he was. From Championship into the Champions League. McTominay to Edwards. Can he pull a ball across? Instead drives in front of the face of goal. Oh my goodness. He's been on the pitch for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and he has 2 goals. And what a goal that was. Goal of the game, without question. He is so unbelievably good. And he isn't even our starting winger. This squad is so good. This is the best FM side I've ever had. It's so fun. We beat Liverpool 6-0 not too long ago. And here's Hackney into McTominay. Could find Yeremy Doku, plays it to Emerson. This is why I substituted you on. And Emerson, with his first goal of the game, first goal of the season, makes it 6-0. 3 goals in the last 8 minutes. Karabag looks stunned. They are wobbly, and the referee is counting to 10. If they can get back to their feet, there's no way on God's green earth we should be this good. With rejects and relegations come gold. 6-0 victory here. And now we go into the transfer deadline day for January with £70 million to spend. How do you improve this side? Do you know what I mean? Like, we beat Liverpool 6-0, we've just beat Karabag 6-0. Both of our showcase games have ended 6-0. And we have £70 million to improve the squad. And there is the proof in the pudding. Oh, sorry, we can move this around, don't worry. Yeah, 75. If I wanted to, we could say 85 million to spend. We'll be back for deadline day as I try and decide what could possibly come for this squad. But there we are. We've qualified for the round of 16. Does it show our records for like furthest in Europe? League positions? No, that's it. I might well Google it. But wow, what a squad. Man of the match, Scott McSauce with 3 assists. And let's talk about him. Last season, 15 goals, 6 assists, 5 man of the matches. Now 3 goals, 3 assists in the league alone. Altogether in 18 appearances, 12 substitution appearances, 5 goals, 9 assists, 4 man of the matches. 23 goals, 8 assists last season altogether. He is performing just as good as he was last year from a slightly deeper position. We will be back for transfer deadline day. I'll see you all soon. And so we're back. Let's press the big button. Take part. We are going to be taking part in transfer deadline day. One of the first things I want to look at is what players are wanted and who aren't. So we're looking at sound the likes of Emerson, Soufal, Flint Downs, who's now 26, I'm a big fan of, but he doesn't want to be at this club, so he's on the unwanted list. What else we may be looking at? Selling. I don't really see anyone else who we definitely want to sell. A lot of this team has done so well for us in the past. Not necessarily loyalty, but just we can improve on maybe a couple of these players, but I want to reward great form, etc., and not try and mess with a winning formula. But something I am looking at is maybe improving this front line. We have Patson Daka, who has his problems with injuries. If you go off of injury stats, since we signed him, he's had that bruised ankle, sprained ankle ligaments, twisted ankle. So he's definitely got a big weakness on that right ankle. And Mohamed Kudus is injured right now. Only 13 finishing, yeah, his movement etc. is great, but if we could maybe sign a slightly better striker and perhaps move Kudus towards a slightly deeper role, where I do think he's better, utilising that stamina, etc. If we could play him sort of in this advanced playmaker role, etc., just something where maybe he's a bit more involved across the entire team, I think that could be great. So something definitely looking at is those leading strikers. On the shortlist for strikers, we only have the one, which is Petr Rakov, who we are interested in more so as like a young player who could develop. He's had a great season, and last season was unbelievable over in Austria. Very good in the Champions League. You'll see there, Continental, 7.01 average rating for Salzburg. This year maybe not so good, but very, very talented player. All the stats I love in a front liner. So I think Petr Rakov could be the guy, but there may well be other options. In terms of our scouted players right now, who leads the line, we have a couple options. These feel like all these are midfielders, I feel like. So there's Cameron Archer down there, Yusufa Makoko, who does want to leave. Of course, we know how good he is. Muhammad Ali Chow. There's a young player here, Ivo Mamini, who maybe is quite similar in like for like to Mohamed Kudus. Benjamin Cheshko, of course, over at Leipzig. Andrea Pinamonti, who is very, very talented. Maybe one of these guys? Like, just looking through, you are looking for who maybe fits what we have. I do really like Jonathan Burkhardt, but the lack of finishing, like he's a decent winger, not the biggest fan. So he used to be an old saves. Jonas Wind, of course, was one of the first players we looked at signing before we eventually went for Patson Daka. Eddie Nketiah, I'm a massive fan of Eddie Nketiah. He plays kind of that perfect like finisher role, which is of course what we're looking at. Someone who can maybe score some goals so we're not as reliant on wingers. And perhaps Eddie Nketiah is that man. The only other thing that I could possibly want to sign, you're seeing some of my positional ideas, is one of our big problems right now in the in Champions League registration is we need players who were homegrown. at West Ham. We don't have a single player in our starting squad homegrown. So if you look at maybe some of those players who we could sign who grew up in the West Ham squad, these are who we get, and there isn't many very good. So we have Declan Rice, who is of course too expensive, Grady Diangana over at Sunderland. So none of these players really scream good enough to be part of even our starting 23. Like Yeremy Ngakia, nothing there. Grady Diangana is solid, but definitely not the guy I want to lead the line. The only player there is Declan Rice. I think that's fair enough. Josh Cullen's not good enough. So we're going to pause for sort of the big things that are going to happen. But I'm definitely going to go in for Petr Rakov, who I think, unless I just want him better finishing. So I'm going to pause. I'll come back on the player I definitely want. But I think it may be Petr Rakov. And then after that, I'm going to pause for anything big that happens. Because yes, these episodes are going to be longer as we upload less. But I don't want this episode to be, an hour long. So I'm back. I have my targets. Everyone besides Maron is someone who I'm looking at. Umar Sadiq is the last option. I do like a lot of those stats. And he had the best season last year, 7.05 of everyone I'm looking at. He's also the most developed. The next option is Jose Manuel Lopez, who currently plays for Palmeiras. And I like him. I do really like him. But I think we've got to see a little bit more. A lot of these stats I really like. I'm just not quite sold on him yet. And even though we have a lot of money, the finances aren't perfect down here. And we maybe need to just hold out. The next option is Sergio Garassi, who's had a great season in real life. And definitely, a lot of these stats really do stick out to me as very, very good, or attributes. He's also not had the worst time over in Germany. And he's obviously clearly a very talented player. So maybe it's Garassi. But I'm very sold on this young man, Samu Amarodian from Atleti. Now, Alaves could have had a much better season. This year, not doing all that badly for Atleti. Overall, has 21 appearances, 12 starts, 7 goals, 2 assists, a 6.99 rating. So, not bad at all. Only 20 years old, so similar to Petr Rakov, definitely has the place to develop. And I really like a lot of these stats. I like his physicals. I love the mental, the anticipation, the off the ball, determination and work rate all shout out to me as something very good. And yeah, he's a little bit of a risk, but he does look good. So it's him or Petr Rakov. And the thing with Rakov is that 13 finishing. And Samu's maybe better, might be worse. We don't know much on him. But I think I'm going to go for Rakov because I also like his passing, which means he can play maybe a more support striker role to the wingers. About similar in terms of cost. They're not willing to sell him, but I do think there's something there. So I'm going to go in for Petr Rakov for now. If that doesn't work, it's going to be one of these other 5 players. But I'm really not sold on Madden. We've had him at the shortest, the longest. But something about him just doesn't quite click for me, in my opinion at least. So yeah, we'll be back when hopefully we've either got a transfer offer or we are going to accept one of the many players we're looking at. So the first move of the window is Vladimir Coufal will be moving on loan to Wolves. We will get £6 million if they get promoted, which looks pretty much set, with them in second place and about to improve the squad, 8 points ahead of Luton. So I feel pretty confident they'll be going up. And then we'll get another £11 million altogether over next season. So Coufal leaves, and maybe the option now is to look at a potential backup right back to João Mario. But I'm a big fan of Mavropanos maybe playing that role and utilising someone like James Ward-Prowse, who is beginning to decline, Maybe Ward-Prowse becomes our new right back. Emerson, of course, can play either role with Ollie Scholes. So I'm not actually interested in signing a backup right back until next season. Though maybe I'll change my mind depending on who else gets sold. Want to try and make this squad a little smaller first. Now this is frustrating. Just as we sell him and we get the agreement to sign Petr Rakov, another player pops up who could well be an even better fit. Victor Gyökeres, who has done very well over in Sporting Lisbon in real life. Hasn't been amazing, but has performed pretty well over in Portugal. And this guy is perfect for what I look for in a striker. The physicals are beautiful, the mentals are great, and those technicals are screaming out to me as a perfect forward striker. He's wanted over in Saudi Arabia, which is always a good sign. And I am interested in him. He spent a lot of his career here in Britain, with times at Brighton, Swansea, and then 3 years over at Coventry. So he would know the language pretty well and would come in as a leading striker. But that leaves the question, is that what I want? Do I want someone to lead the line up front, or do I want to stick with Daka for now, who has obviously performed pretty well for us, and trust in Patton Daka and Kudus as we allow the rest of the team to kind of keep performing the way they are and slowly integrate another striker into the forward line rather than trying to maybe change the squad right now. It leaves you questions. A report, we don't have any. We haven't scouted this guy at all, but he's that good. We already know a lot of his attributes. It's a lot of money. So I'm going to discuss. And no, the wages are far too high. Yeah, he's willing to bring him down, but I'm absolutely not willing to make him our highest paid player by a decent margin, besides, of course, number one man Mohamed Kudus. So no, I'm not going to go in for him. I'm going to go in for Petr Rakov, who's on 65 grand a week, a pretty respectable amount, willing to be a squad player. So by the way, other players we looked at, Arthur Vermeeren has gone to Newcastle, Dijon Kumeri's also gone to Newcastle. But no, we've agreed to sign Petr Rakov. His job isn't to be the leading man, but to slowly develop into that here with West Ham. I already really like him. I'm hoping he can do well for us, and if not, there's always a spot for him out there as a winger. So with 10 hours left to go, I think we may have made all of our moves. Let's see if maybe we can get rid of the likes of Flynn Downs and hopefully move towards a better squad. Sadly, Soufal has left the squad. A great year last season. Didn't really start to get into the squad though, with how good we have João Mario. But that might be all. We'll find out over the next 7 hours, and I'll see you soon. So deadline day did go off without anything else happening. I was fuming because my board kept rejecting offers for Flynn Downs, and literally the main thing I'm trying to do is get rid of Flynn Downs, so I was gutted. I put everything as like unspecified, sell at any price, and he still rejected it. Well, I really like this. So we're on 9th in the player wage expenditure, which is something I try and keep as low as I can. So we're 9th here in this. We're below the likes of Aston Villa, still battling for top place. So we're definitely doing a very good job keeping this squad financially smart. We were the biggest spenders with £104 million spent in altogether for 6 different players. The highest deal of the window was the signing of Nico to Liverpool, which, you know, I'm fine with that. Nico, very, very talented player. I did look at him as someone who I would love to sign. I don't know, I can't find it anywhere. Yeah, he's a very talented player, formerly of Barcelona, of course. Okay, why? Shut up. Here he is. I don't care. He'll be somewhere around here. Nico, is he already in the squad? Why is it so hard to find players here? It's £51 million. It was. He's a very good player. We probably could have gone in for him ourselves. Don't know why we didn't. Only 23 years old. I think it was more just like I preferred Samu. I think I did prefer Samu as someone who we could develop ourselves. I'm a big fan of. We're not going to be able to compete with the top boys for the best players. We need to be smart and sign those guys no one else is looking at. And that's exactly what we're doing. I'm very happy. We've signed Petr Rakov. Hopefully he goes on to become the next hero of West Ham. But thank all you beautiful people for watching. Please like and subscribe if you can. We will be back, of course, for that Carabao Cup final in basically a month's time. But we'll see you all then. Let's hope that somehow we can actually get towards the top of the Premier League. See you all and goodbye.